Most people aren't meant to reach greatness. There is no point to all of this, and we will surely end up at the same place. Mediocrity isn't what you are, it's what you choose to be. If you are watching similar videos to mine, then you have to be somewhat into self-improvement. Which means it couldn't pass by you how many of these gurus make grandiose speeches about mediocrity and how you should be scared just of the thought of remaining a simpleton. Yes, mediocrity sounds awful, and very few would admit to themselves being mediocre. The word carries negativity with itself, and the defense mechanism of the ego kicks in and makes everything to not be associated with mediocrity. Yes, the vast majority of humankind will be exactly that, remain normal and bland. Now that I think about it, the word bland sounds negative as well, but I mean that in the most non-judgmental way. These gurus either don't realize that most people aren't meant to reach greatness, whatever that means for each and every person, or being dishonest and play to emotional hollowness and insecurities of humans so that they can make a quick buck. Of course, it's all about money, and in this case, the second option sounds more plausible. People fear death, it's natural. We cannot wrap our heads around the fact that we will be no more someday. All these stories about heaven, reincarnation, the other world are merely projections of fearful egos to imagine something that will promise eternity, something that could alleviate that burning agony so that we can go on with our lives. What ends up happening is that people pause their living, not realizing how fragile this experience is, not realizing that there is no second chance. Especially nowadays that we live in a very sterile conditions, seldom encountering death, drifting away from the reality of life so that we can concentrate on making money, indulging in hedonism, building societies and other worldly activities. Ultimately, there is no point to all of this, and we will surely end up at the same place, like everyone else, regardless of life experiences. So what's the point of all of this? Alleviating suffering and living as humanely as possible towards yourself. Life is never about finding purpose and becoming a saint just because you enjoy what you do. It's about finding a way for smooth sailing from start till the end. These mind and body are under constant development and evolution. And to make that journey as painless as possible, we have to give the chance to ourselves to understand what we're doing here and why we're doing what we're doing. Mediocrity, on the other hand, opposes that. It numbs you, makes you bitter, thus influences others in your surroundings in a negative way, a domino effect of some sort, making the life of the whole community a living hell. So to improve a society, you have to start with yourself. Look in the mirror and understand why you are doing what you're doing. Especially whether you give yourself a permission to enjoy it. Pursuing the heights of your potential gives you a chance to put a smile on your face, a poetic one. It will open the doors to the chambers of wisdom and knowledge, giving you a better chance to deal with life's grim reality, to deal with hardships and suffering. People fear death because it's instantaneous, unapologetic, and cruel. Mediocrity, on the other hand, is a slow burner. It takes time to become mediocre, and that time could stretch out your whole life. Anywhere between you being a young teenager till the days where you are old fart, you have a chance to make a change, a transformation towards reaching those dreams of yours. At least it's what you're telling yourself. Incapability of taking actions isn't an event. Death is. That's why we fear death much more than mediocrity. Slow burner is a process. It hurts very little in the moment being, but it damages your life much more during a long period of time. Very few will give themselves a chance to pursue equanimity, a peace of mind. That's okay, that's fine, that's natural. We human beings tend to choose the path of least resistance. And as long as this body lives on, we can neglect the suffering of the mind. That being said, this kind of a message from me, from the gurus, will at least affect one person who will grab the steering wheel and direct the vehicle towards the right direction. It takes one person to make a whole lot of change in the world. One person at a time. The suffering is inevitable, and you should watch this video to understand why we suffer and what you can do about it. Mediocrity isn't what you are, it's what you choose to be. Hossein, out.